Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of What's Driving Token Prices. I'm your host, Katie Talati, Director of Research at Arca. For those joining us for the first time, I'm responsible for identifying and analyzing digital asset and blockchain opportunities for Arca's funds. As part of our research, my team and I examined token prices and the market events that act as catalysts for price change. Based on our research over the past week, here are some notable token price moves and what we think drove these moves. As a reminder, this commentary is not intended to be investment advice, investment research, or an investment recommendation. Please consult your investment professional for your own circumstances. Wow, it has really been a roller coaster of a week, everybody. What I thought was going to be pretty boring ended up last night really flipping a switch. Just a few of the headlines, if you missed it. Coinbase announced that they're launching pre-market trading they're launching trading for pre-market assets. So their first one being Eigenlayer, which their token is live for collecting points, but not live to trade yet. This is really against the grain for Coinbase. They've been so by the book to date. So we'll see how this pans out. Tether announced that they're launching a gold-backed stablecoin. We'll see how that goes. And then Bitwise has refiled their ETH ETF application, potentially in what many think are in advance of an approval that's expected sometime in the next couple weeks. The big news, however, is that Consensus announced yesterday afternoon, evening, that they have officially closed their investigation with the SEC as to whether the sale of Ethereum way back in 2014 constituted a securities sale. But most market participants have interpreted this that ETH is no longer considered a security, which would be huge for the market, institutional adoption, and a number of other things. So the market has been rallying a bit in the last 24 hours on that. We're happy to see it because up until then, it had really not been so great for anything outside of Bitcoin and ETH. Anyway, but we are going to talk about some tokens as usual. So I will get started. First off, we're going to talk about ZK Sync. So early Monday, the long anticipated token airdrop of layer 2 ZK Sync finally arrived. Unfortunately, of course, there was some disappointment. I don't know if you guys have noticed a pattern. Most airdrops seem to have some sort of disappointment with them right now. But the big one was that the network ended up suffering a bunch of strain and degree to performance, trying to handle the load, which is basically too many users were probably trying to claim their tokens at once. It got really congested, and the network just wasn't able to perform up to the standards that most expected of it. So a little background, ZK Sync launched in 2020. It's been really at the forefront of zero knowledge proof scaling solutions. For those that aren't familiar, zero knowledge proofs are basically it's this technology within cryptography that allows cryptographic proofs that communicate between parties without publicly sharing the contents of the message. So unlike in the examples that we give for blockchains of Bob and Alice, Bob sends Alice this amount of money, and then Charlie over here can see that transaction. Basically what it says is that Alice sent Bob something, and Charlie can see that there was a transaction between them, but he can't see the amount, where it's going after that, all those kinds of things. So definitely also adds this kind of layer of privacy in that can be really important for the future. And to boot, it makes transactions a lot faster. So we're happy to see that. So ZK Sync's airdrop was designed to really widely distribute tokens. They are allocating 17.5% of the supply to the airdrop, which is quite a lot, actually, because again, if you've been paying attention to some of the airdrops I've talked about, a lot of them have really been about 5%, which is not that much. So 17.5% is pretty big allocation. And it went to over 695,000 wallets, really large number. However, ZK Sync was not immune from the market malaise that most new token issues have suffered in the past few months. The token initially traded up to 30 cents, but has since declined to 22. Despite this, it's still a very large cap asset and doing well. It is officially down 21% for the week. Okay, next up, we're going to talk about Prisma. So Prism Protocol is an algorithmic stablecoin project. Prisma Finance, they announced this week that they're going to be acquiring a project called Mobius Finance, which is a liquid restaking protocol on Eigenlayer. So the acquisition is going to, according to a governance post, the acquisition is going to cost $180,000, and that's going to be funded through Prisma's grants program. So at one point, Prisma was a pretty large, up-and-coming, promising DeFi project. They had a ton of integrations before they launched, very big into the Curve ecosystem. And unfortunately, they've just suffered a ton of setbacks, the latest of which has been they were a victim of a big exploit for about $11 million back in March. So we'll see if they can regain a bit of a foothold with this new acquisition. They are down 13% for the week. All right, next up, or last up, I have a twofer for you guys. So Ondo, Drift and Ondo. So Perpetual Futures Exchange Ondo, or I mean Drift, gosh. Perpetual Futures Protocol Drift announced this week that they're going to be accepting Ondo's USDY as collateral for trading. So Ondo, which focuses on bringing real-world assets on chain, issued this U.S. Treasury stablecoin called USDY. It's available on a ton of different chains, including Ethereum, Solana, Polygon, and many others. Drift's addition of USDY as collateral basically provides more usability for the USDY stablecoin and could further grow on the Solana blockchain. As of today, USDY only has about 156 million of AUM. And with that, Drift is down only 6.6% for the week, and Ondo is down 9.5%. Okay, guys, that's all I have for you this week. I hope you enjoyed our insights. Tune in here again next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific to hear what's driving token